Yo, let's go and welcome to the video. Here's an easy thing to prep for Wrath of the Lich King and pre-patch on your off-raid nights, and that is prepping for your new Glyphs. This is going to be pretty easy to do. It doesn't require that many mats at all, but I have a couple of examples of ones that I will be testing out on the beta. I think the Glyph of Starfire is pretty mandatory, but we'll see, and we'll only be able to have 2 major glyphs in the pre-patch. We have to pick which ones we want to have for raiding in the pre-patch and leveling up to 75 where we unlock our 3rd major glyph slot. So our second option might be Insect Swarm or Moonfire and possibly Glyph of Focus. I'm not 100% on this one, but we'll get into that. So the mats for the 2 that I will most likely have, I think, is the Starfire and Moonfire. And for the Moonfire, it requires 1 Lion's Ink and like a parchment that you buy off of a vendor. And to make 1 Lion's Ink, you need 2 golden pigments, which you get from milling any of these 4 herbs. So 5 herbs in order to mill to get 1 pigment, which we need 2 of. So we need at least 10 of one of these herbs here. So if you have an herbalist, it shouldn't be hard to get any of these. But if you're not an herbalist, check on the auction house now and see the prices of each of these and figure out which one's the cheapest. For example, you can just go into Scarlet Monastery Graveyard and farm some grave moss really quickly to have 10 of those ready to be milled. So now that Moonfire is broken down, it's going to be the same thing for all of the other glyphs. It's going to require 1 ink, which it takes 2 of a pigment to make. So for the Glyph of Starfire, we'll need 10 of any of these herbs. So on to the Glyph of Focus, which I'm really curious about having as a pair to Starfire. It requires herbs from Northrend, but we might be able to get these herbs from the Darkmoon Fair vendor. I'll put a link in the description for a video Scottjaye just did talking about this vendor. I use this vendor going from Classic to TBC in order to get mana pots prepped to level, but now I might be using this vendor if Darkmoon Fair is up during the pre-patch in order to get these herbs to make the Glyph of Focus. Another thing is if scribes will be able to purchase this off of a vendor in Shatra. That I'm not 100% on either, so this one's kind of up in the air, but I would love to be able to make this and test it out, so we will see on the beta. These are not all of the major glyphs, there's a few others, but these were the 4 that I think that I'm just going to be testing. So here is Insect Swarm with the herbs you would need for Insect Swarm. Same with the minor glyphs, there's more than just these 3. These are the 3 that I think I will probably use. Having the Rebirth and Dash, I think, for the first 2, and then eventually getting the Glyph of the Wild as the 3rd one. But nothing changes for the minor glyphs either. Requires 2 of a pigment to make 1 ink from a range of a certain herb. And the last one that I looked up was Glyph of the Wild. It's just reducing the mana cost of the Mark of the Wild by 50%, so it's not really saving you gold or anything. Maybe it's useful for a speed run, which I don't really do. But if you wanted to figure out the other glyphs that are available, you can go to wrathoflichkingdatabase.com, go to database, items, glyphs, druid, and you can choose major or minor, and figure out which ink you will need for each glyph that you might be interested in. Some glyphs, like the Glyph of Starfall, are learned via discovery, so probably won't have access to this during the pre-patch. But that's it for this one. Get those herbs ready for your glyphs, and I'll see you in the next one.